Good morning. It's the spring equinox, so I'm doing a video update. I'm trying this video update really early in the morning to give us another different kind of perspective on what we've been up to. Just going in the greenhouse first. We've just replanted a little bit here. We've had a huge harvest of brassicas. And I've got some plants we took out yesterday that will be planted outdoors somewhere. They all are hardening off right now. We've had another go at lining this second pond just over here. Cleaned it out, put plastic in it. We used a whole lot of these tree trunks across, and we've planted pumpkins, watermelon and cucumbers in some holes that we dug on either side, and so hopefully those will grow across and add more shade. We're still growing in 4 of the circles. We still have a limited amount of bore water. We're getting about 500 litres a day, and we're using that for everything. So we're trying to keep some fruit trees alive. We're watering these veggies in these circles here, and this is the last one over there. Despite the very low rainfall, a lot of the fruit trees are still putting out flowers and new leaves. Like this is an example of the cherry. It's still got lots of good blossoms on it. We were given about 8 kilos of garlic that someone had bought. They'd bought a 10 kilo bag and they were never going to use it and was sprouting, so we renovated this. We made this new little garden here and renovated that one there, mended the soil, and then we've planted all the garlic. We haven't watered that at all since we did it. We put about 1,000 litres into it when we were preparing the soil, and then it's rained. Since we did it, only 14 millimeters, and we're pushing the garlic, hoping that the roots will go nice and deep. And then if they're deep, they'll be more water resilient. I just want to show you one more tree up here. This is a pear tree that's put on quite an intense amount of flowers, which means if it does rain, hopefully we'll get some really nice fruit. And there's Chocky, she's been milked. She's impatiently waiting. Hey Chocky! Chocky! And Milky's getting milked. We've got 4 helpers at the moment, so Elena and Tuku taking turns to milk the goats each morning. They're getting pretty good at it. We've been doing a lot of mulching through the dry in anticipation again of rain. We've been making char, and this is what the char looks like when it goes through the mulcher. We put a little bit of water on it so it's not too dry and too dusty, and it comes out beautiful and fine like this, and we use this as a soil amendment. I'll show you a couple other beds that we've renovated. These 2 raised beds over here. We redid the sides. That was with a helper before, and then this was with the 4th helper who came about a week before the other 3 came. We renovated that one over there, which basically means the sides had rotted off, and we put metal ones back in replace of them, and amended the soil, added a bit more soil, planted a few seeds. On Saturday we finished the 2nd layer of plaster, and since then we've put all the stones back because we don't want to plaster it again. Also today we filled up the containers with soil We made a soil mix, so they're all ready for planting. We're going to plant kiwi fruit, passion fruit, probably a grape, and other vines like Madeira vine, choco, maybe some beans, and also some herbs, with the idea that we get a bit more shade to grow underneath this roof. And there's Jag checking it out. Jag. Hello. So we ended up building a roof over it. I went for this mosaic patterning on the roof of some sort of partly opaque and some see-through, and then 50% of it normal metal, so you get a little bit of sun coming through. The gardens I renovated at the back, did the rock walling in the last video. Show you what's growing in them. So these gardens that I renovated and redid these rock walls, I've basically been watering with shower water. We put a bucket in the shower and we collect the water when we have a shower, but also the water while it's getting heated, because when it gets heated it expands and some drips out. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that because they are growing quite okay, which means that our soil amendment is actually effective. So I'm up in the forest now, in the bush, and when we've got lots of helpers, one of the things we've been doing is cutting some of the paths through the forest that I've wanted to do for a long time. So here's one I started earlier in the year with other helpers, and then with these helpers what we do sometimes is we just do 2 hours of bushwhacking, and we just go through the forest and we knock down all the old cypress, pines and tea trees that are dead, and then we push them across, or we lay them down on the contour, and we also cut off all the little branches, and so basically it makes it so that we can see through the forest again. It's letting in a little bit more light, and it's kind of like a mulching method. It's a bit of a human disturbance that we're doing as an experiment to see what happens with the rebound. You know, are we going to get small little bushes, more wildflowers? Are we going to get little tree seeds germinating, growing little trees again? Because I feel like this forest is very stable. It's in a state of not changing much. You know, we don't have very big trees that fall down and then create a disturbance where there's new light and new regrowth happening. So we are kind of mechanically doing this instead of big trees falling down or there being a bushfire going through. I'm also hoping that with more material on the ground it will decay, and if the decay process is sped up, then perhaps there'll be less fuel to burn when the fire does come through one day. It's kind of only a matter of time before there is a fire. So this is what the forest little paths look like. We lay a little bit of wood along the edges so that, and they're not on contour, but they mark it out so that people can come up here for a walk and not get lost. I suspect that they will be used by the wallabies and any other wildlife that's up here. They'll be used by them to kind of move around freely as well. When the helpers came up here, they've seen the dragon lizards, they've seen an echidna, which I haven't actually seen myself on this property yet. So that was pretty special. It was nice. And of course, if you come up here quietly, you do see some birds, and it's kind of peaceful. These paths have allowed us to get to know the land better, and as we do the bushwhacking, a little bit of clearing, it also then allows us to see how the land is, how it's lying. You know, where are the ridges, where are the valleys, where are the flat spots. Because when the forests are very, very thick, it's actually very difficult to tell. And I don't really trust any of the maps that are available. So you look through here where it hasn't been bushwhacked, you can only see about 20 meters, and then it's so thick. So it becomes very difficult to tell if there's a little ridge there or a little valley. So I've just about got to where we did a new pathway. You might be able to see it here on the left. And it's quite interesting how the helpers really get into this activity, this kind of job and this kind of work, and they really like it. It involves moving loose rocks. We try and move any of the rocks that are in the way. We use a steel bar. Otherwise it's just moving dead wood that's already on the ground. Sometimes it's a tea tree in the pathway, and they're quite easy to push over and pull the roots out. And of course knocking off any of the branches on the trees nearby. And yeah, you can see now what the path looks like through the forest. And in time we'll probably bushwhack around each of the pathways so you can see further into the forest. Oh, there's a wallaby up there. It's just hopping away. I can hear some birds too. So this pathway I've just been coming through the forest, kind of going diagonally across the property, then meets up with the neighbour's boundary. And so we've also just cleared along the fence line, make the path really accessible, make the fence line accessible. And this is then now going up the hill. And again, there's never been a path here before. So it's been slow progress. We've done it bit by bit. You can see here where it's very, very rocky. Well, we've just removed all the loose rocks that we can to make it safe. And then we've just continued. So I'm down back near the house now. You can see a regrowth there on the mulberry. I just wanted to say that one of our strategies for this dry spell is to grow some food at a friend's place in town. He has more water than we have, and we've made an arrangement with him that we can dig up some of his lawn and make some beds and grow some tomatoes, some veggies, some cucurbits, potatoes. And that's quite a nice community thing to do. You know, we're basically kind of growing the food together. We're doing most of the work. He's providing the water and the soil and the ground, a little bit on the infrastructure, and then we're going to share the harvests. So we're looking forward to that relationship, to see how that turns out. And it's a win-win for him and a win for us. We can grow more of our food and don't have to work in order to earn money to pay for it. And he gets his soil improved where we're growing the veggies. He's got future plans to grow fruit trees, so we've loosened it up and amended and improved the soil, and so he will then be able to grow some more trees instead of lawn there, which is, yeah, he's very happy about. I'll put some photos into this video so you can see what we've been doing over there. That's it for this update. Bye.